What's up, everyone? Hope you're doing great. Hope you're having a great day. Welcome to another video. Yeah, it's Thursday today, so almost the weekend is almost here, and another week of Premier League fixtures. Obviously we play Spurs, so that's the mouth-watering clash of the weekend. I'm really looking forward to that game, but obviously we're not talking about that here. I just wanted to look at the Champions League games that played yesterday. Obviously, I already spoke about the ones that happened on or that were played on Tuesday. Now, I just want to talk about the results from yesterday. Obviously, a shock result in well, I don't know if it's a shock result because Liverpool haven't really played well as of yet. They got thrashed by Napoli 4-1. And I also want to obviously just mention Tottenham, even though I didn't really think they were that good actually in that game, and they were quite lucky, to be honest. But obviously I'll get on to that. Also, obviously, the breaking news from today is that Graham Potter is now the new Chelsea head coach, or the new Chelsea manager, whatever you want to call it. He's the successor of Thomas Tuchel, who was obviously sacked on yesterday. Yeah, he was sacked yesterday in the wake of that game against Dinamo Zagreb, which they lost 1-0. And actually, I think the Chelsea board, some sources are saying that they decided before the West Ham game that they were going to sack Thomas Tuchel. So it was not because they lost against Dinamo Zagreb that they decided to fire him. But obviously, I will get it into the details. Let's jump into the video. But obviously, before I talk about it, please, if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel, and please push the thumbs up button to so that you can get to like the video, and also please push the notification bell so that you can get notified each time I post a new video. And then obviously, kind of picking up where I left off in the introduction. Obviously, the results from yesterday. In fact, no, let's just talk first about Graham Potter. Graham Potter is now officially the new Chelsea head coach, or new Chelsea manager. He's obviously replaced, or he succeeds, Thomas Tuchel as the new Chelsea head coach. Obviously, the Chelsea owners felt like they wanted to go in a different direction. I think the word that I'm hearing is that they didn't feel like Thomas Tuchel is in for the long haul with regards to the club. Like they didn't feel like, they were not confident in Thomas Tuchel staying at the club for a sustainable period of time, or for a long period of time, like how they wanted him to stay at the football club. They didn't really get that sense from him. So that's why they decided to change managers. Now, everything you guys have got to pay attention to is that Chelsea are now owned by American owners. Now, American owners they like operating kind of in a similar fashion. So if you look at the sports in America, so like the top sports, the MLB, which is the baseball, NHL, which is the hockey, and then NFL, the football, and then obviously football in American terms, not UK terms, and then also basketball. If you look at the owners of those teams, or of those franchises, as how the Americans like to call them, in terms of the sports teams and stuff like that, they like kind of having head coaches or managers for like a sustainable period of time, or for a long period of time. They don't really they don't really like operating in terms of like how Abramovich operated at Chelsea, whereby you're given 18 months to do a good job. And if you do a good job, great, you're going to get a new contract. But then halfway through not even halfway through your new contract, 6 months into your new contract, if you're not doing well, then he's going to sack you. That's not how American owners like to operate. They like kind of having a long-term ambition for a football club. In fact, not a football club, for a sports franchise, because that's how they like to talk about sports teams. So I think that's the vision that Todd Bowley and his counterparts have for Chelsea. I think that's the vision that they want to obviously lay out at Chelsea. So I just think they felt like they didn't want to continue with Thomas Tuchel as the head coach, but they want that doesn't mean they are like only going to give Graham Potter 2 months or 3 months, and then if results are not going well, they're just going to sack him. I don't think that's the case, like how many people are suggesting that if they didn't give Thomas Tuchel a chance, then who's to say that they're going to give Graham Potter a chance? I don't think that's the case. I just think once Americans, in terms of their sports franchise, once they decide on who they want as their coach or as their manager, they want to stick with that person for the long haul. And I think that's why they've hired Graham Potter, because Graham Potter if obviously we're looking at in terms of his experience and stuff like that, he's not experienced at the top level. He's never managed at the top level. Like, it's the first time he's getting a job at the top level. Even though I really like him as a coach and I think he's going to do well because I think he's a great coach, but he's never managed at the top level. But they've still given him the job nevertheless. I think the reason why they've done that is because they believe that, like, he's the right man for the job in terms of continuing with the job for the long haul. I think that's what they're trying to basically do. I think that's the vision of Todd Boehly and his counterparts or the other board of directors of Chelsea. Obviously, I think in order to make sure that they give Graham Potter a platform of success, I think that a platform to succeed, they need to kind of surround him with a director of football and a proper scouting department and a proper sporting director. And all of those people who are doing that job, so like Petr Cech, Marina Granovskaya, and Bruce Buck, those are the people who held the positions of sporting director, director of football, and thingy. In fact, not director of football. Marina was the thingy. She acted like she was kind of the acting CEO, if you like, because every decision that happened at the football club went through her instead of Roman Abramovich. So she was kind of like an intermediary of Roman Abramovich. She was the eyes and ears of the boss on the ground, basically, if that's how you like to put it. So basically, Todd Boehly has gotten rid of those people, and he was basically kind of overlooking the transfer business and the scouting of the football club by himself, and with the help of Thomas Tuchel over the summer. So I think in order to make sure that they give Graham Potter a platform to succeed and make sure that they really give him kind of like all the support that he needs, they need to get a proper sporting director of football, scouting department, and like so that they make the right footballing decisions. And they also need to get people who are experienced in negotiating deals. So like Todd Boehly is used to the American market. He's never owned a football club before in England or in Europe. Like, he's never been involved in the football transfer market. Now, the football transfer market in the UK is vastly different to the football and the basketball transfer market in the US, because in the US there's trade clauses and things of that nature. Players are traded. There are no transfer fees that are involved in terms of the acquisition and the selling of players. Whereas in the UK or in Europe, in football, basically in Europe and in the UK, like, transfer fees are involved. So there are no trades. You don't trade with another team for a certain player. And also there's no salary caps and stuff like that in the Premier League, even though there are in La Liga and stuff. Even though you have to kind of operate within the parameters of financial fair play. But what I'm trying to say is that the American market is vastly different to the American market in terms of football, baseball, and basketball is vastly different to the UK and the European market in terms of football. So he needs to make sure that he gets the right people in the right positions in order to make sure that he basically gives Graham Potter a platform of success. They don't want a platform to succeed. They don't want to be the next Man United. If you've looked at Man United over the years, they've had people who have no idea about football. So, for example, Ed Woodward. Ed Woodward is, I think, a banker or something. So he knows a lot about the financial markets and stuff like that, and the commercial side of things in terms of businesses. But he knows nothing about running a football club. Yet he was running Manchester United for a long period of time. And that's why Man United struggled to succeed for a long period of time. Because you can't have a banker making footballing decisions. Because, it's two different markets. You can't assume that someone who is good who is exceptional as a banker is going to be exceptional as a scouting person in football, or as a sporting director or as a director of football, which is what Man United did, and that's why they've had a sustainable period of failure, basically, and they haven't really found any consistency with regards to succeeding. They last won a trophy under Jose Mourinho in in 2017, which was the Europa League under Jose Mourinho. They haven't won a trophy basically in 5 years, and that's a massive underachievement for a club of Manchester United's size. But the main reason why that has happened is because they have not put the right footballing people in the right positions at the football club. So, not that I'm trying to kind of deflect and kind of banter Man United or anything like that, but I'm just trying to exaggerate the point that Chelsea and Todd Bowley need to get the right people in the right positions to make sure that they give Graham Potter the best the best platform to succeed at Chelsea Football Club. Because I believe if they give Graham Potter the director of football, the sporting director, the scouting department that he needs, then he will be a huge success at Chelsea, because I think he's a great coach and I think he's going to get the best out of the players at Chelsea, and as a result he will be able to kind of like lead the club to success. Obviously he's never done it before, I know that, but I still think that he's a big enough manager, and he's going to get a platform of success. And another side note I would kind of give you guys is the fact that if you look at a guy like Pep Guardiola or Jurgen Klopp or who's the other guy, or Zinedine Zidane. Now, even though in the case of Zinedine Zidane and Pep Guardiola, you might say, but those were top players in the game when they played, that they were automatically respected by other football players. Zinedine Zidane and Pep Guardiola, when they started coaching at Real Madrid and Barcelona respectively, they never had any football coaching experience. Pep Guardiola was coaching the reserve team for Barcelona before he took the first team job. Zinedine Zidane was doing exactly the same thing at Real Madrid, because he was coaching the reserve team for Real Madrid before he took on the first team job. And you look at what those guys were able to achieve at those clubs. Zinedine Zidane won 3 Champions League titles in a row with Real Madrid, which has never been done before by any other coach in football. Pep Guardiola won 2 Champions League titles with Barcelona, and most ex-players and current players and current football fans universally agree that the Pep Guardiola team of Barcelona when he was there is the best team they've ever seen in football. So the team with like Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, Victor Valdez, Dani Alves, and all of those brilliant players that played for Barcelona in those seasons when Pep Guardiola was the coach there. A lot of people agree that that team is the best team they've ever seen. And that's a team that was created by a guy who never had any coaching experience at the top level before taking the job. So I don't think it's within I don't think it's impossible to succeed after getting your first top job. Obviously you can fail. It's not that like just because you get the top job you will be immune to failure. But I think it's a little bit unfair with the fact that I think it's a little bit unfair that people are kind of looking at, like, they're kind of judging Graham Potter based on the assumption that he's never had any football coaching experience before at the top level, and therefore he's not going to be a success at Chelsea. I think there's plenty of coaches before. Actually, I didn't finish on my example with regards to Jurgen Klopp, because Jurgen Klopp started coaching at FC Mainz. No, is it called FC Mainz? I'm not sure, but Mainz, the team Mainz from Germany. He started coaching there while they were still in the Bundesliga. I'm not quite sure whether they're still in the Bundesliga now or not, but he started coaching there. And then after he left Mainz, he went to Dortmund, and then he really did well at Dortmund, and then he went to Liverpool. But the same thing could have been said with regards to him moving from Mainz to Dortmund. Now, Dortmund might not be regarded as a top club by many other people in Europe or other football fans who support like top teams like Man United or City or Real Madrid or Barcelona. But Dortmund in Germany are one of the top teams. They are one of the biggest football clubs in Germany behind Bayern Munich. So Jurgen Klopp didn't have the experience at the top level when he moved from Mainz to Dortmund. Yet he still achieved great success at Dortmund. Actually, the last time Borussia Dortmund last won a Bundesliga title was when Jurgen Klopp was coaching them. And that really says a lot about his capabilities as a manager and as a football coach. So I think it's unfair to just kind of dismiss someone because they haven't had the experience at the top level. I think it's not impossible to succeed when you move from, like, let's say a smaller club to a bigger club. It just depends on your personality. And I think Graham Potter has all the traits and he has the personality to succeed at the top level. Obviously, it remains to be seen whether that is true or not, because I can ramble on and on all I want about Graham Potter in terms of whether I believe he'll be a success or not. That doesn't mean I'm right. But basically, I think I back Graham Potter. Obviously, we'll see with time whether he'll be a success or not. But I think I back him, man. I back him to succeed at Chelsea. I think he's going to really do well. And then, obviously, I finished with just like I've wrapped it up with Chelsea there. Obviously, I already spoke about the Chelsea result with against Dinamo Zagreb, because I did that video yesterday or 2 days ago. I'm not quite sure. Well, it was yesterday. It was yesterday. So now, moving on to the games that were playing yesterday. Obviously, the Premier League clubs that were in action yesterday, it was Liverpool and Tottenham Hotspur. Now, excuse me, guys, I just want to check my battery here. Okay, still 18%, still 18%. Okay, so going back to what I was saying, so there was the matches that were playing yesterday. Apologize for any echoes. I'm currently with someone in the room here, so I apologize for any echoes you might hear. But basically, the results yesterday, the games that played yesterday: Liverpool against Napoli, as well as Tottenham Hotspur against Marseille, Olympique Marseille. So obviously, I'm starting with a big result. Really, I don't want to say a shocking result or a surprising result, because Liverpool haven't been good so far this season. In the Premier League, they haven't started well. They've been well below their standards. They've only had 2 wins, and they've had 3 draws, and they've had 2 defeats. Have they had a defeat? Yeah, yes, they lost to Man United, and did they lose to any other team? So, but they drew against Palace and Fulham, and then they lost against Man United. And then they drew against Everton. They won against Bournemouth, as well as winning against who's the other team that they played? Okay, I forgot now. But to say the least, Liverpool have had an indifferent start to their season. Their start to this season is well below their standards, or it's well below the standards that they've set in previous seasons. I think that's safe to say. I think every Liverpool fan would agree with that, because they've been a really good side in previous seasons, where they were on for the quadruple last year. They played every possible game that they could have played, and they only kind of like lost it at the final hurdle because they couldn't win the Premier League and the Champions League. And then 3 seasons ago, they won the Premier League. 4 seasons ago, they won the Champions League. So they've really been competing at the highest level in the past 5 seasons, you can say. But this season, for some reason, they've started really on a bad patch, or on a bad note. They've really had a bad patch so far this season. So I'm not sure whether I would be correct by saying that it's not a result that everyone expected. In fact, no. I am correct in saying that it's not a result that everyone expected, because even if you are predicting a Napoli win, no one expected Liverpool to be 4-0 down after 47 minutes in the game, because that's essentially what happened. They were 3-0 down at half-time, and 90 seconds into the second half, they were 4-0 down. So basically, after 47 seconds, they were 4-0 down, and then Luis Diaz scored at the 49th minute, and then they didn't really score again. So they lost the game 4-1 eventually. I don't think anyone would have predicted that result. Even if they thought that Liverpool are going to lose against Napoli, I don't think that anyone could have expected them to lose 4-1. And really, in the game, they looked lethargic. They didn't compete. They were second best on every department. They were outworked. They were outclassed. They were outcoached. They were outmuscled by Napoli. So in every footballing department that you look at, when you look at your team and you say, okay, well, we didn't play well, but we at least competed. Liverpool didn't do any of that against Napoli. And that's so uncharacteristic of a Liverpool side that we've seen in previous seasons blow teams away. Like, in previous seasons, teams haven't been able to cope with Liverpool. They haven't been able to cope with the intensity levels that Liverpool played at, the high intensity levels that they usually played at. And obviously, we can all say that that's mainly because of Mane, because they've lost Mane in their team. But I think yes, you can. I think they do miss Mane. Don't get me wrong. I think they do miss Mane massively. I'm sorry, my foot was thingy was itching. Still is actually. So basically, what I was saying is that I do agree with probably each and every one of you that they do miss Sadio Mane, and he's a big miss for them because he was one of their best players. But I don't think it's just the fact that Sadio Mane is not playing, that they're not playing well. Because you can't say they're not playing well defensively because they don't have Sadio Mane. Virgil van Dijk looks like he's turned into Harry Maguire, basically. Virgil van Dijk has been like one of the top centre-backs in recent Premier League history. And he's been one of the best defenders. And some people have called him the best defender they've ever seen play in the Premier League. Some people have been saying that he's the best defender that they've ever seen playing in the Premier League, simply because of the how calm he looks on the ball, how good he is in spraying passes across the areas of across all areas of the pitch, short passes, long passes, how efficient he is in terms of his defensive capabilities, tackling, and like some players feared taking on Virgil van Dijk. Like some players would turn down the opportunity to take him on simply because they didn't have the confidence that they would beat him one-on-one. And now it looks like players are actually willing to take him on. Because he conceded a penalty, even though Alisson eventually saved the penalty yesterday in that game against Napoli. He conceded a penalty against Victor Osimhen, and Osimhen got that penalty because he decided to take him on. So I think that fear factor that was there with regards to Virgil van Dijk from a lot of attacking players is quickly fading away, simply because some players are really backing themselves out to take him on, to really go at him, to kind of run at him, because he really looks like he's a little bit rattled at the moment. And Joe Gomez was simply atrocious yesterday. Jurgen Klopp, rightfully so, took him off at halftime because he was really not good enough in that first half. He was really complicating things for himself. Like there's that goal that they conceded where he gets the ball from Trent, and then instead of just taking the easy option and giving the goalkeeper the ball, he tries to play out from the back. He tries to turn and he tries to basically, again, exactly what I'm saying, that trying to complicate things for himself, and then the ball is snatched away from him by the Napoli player, and all of a sudden Napoli are counter-attacking them, and then they score as a result from that counter-attack. So I really think Liverpool they're really having an uncharacteristic run at this moment in time. Like Liverpool have gone on runs before where they haven't won a game, but you've never really faulted them for not fighting, not competing for 50-50s, not showing the level of intensity that you need to show each and every game at the top level if you want to compete and if you want to give yourself a chance to win. I don't think we've ever accused Liverpool of doing that, but at this moment in time, we can rightfully so accuse them of doing that because they simply haven't been good enough so far this season. So I really think there's alarm bells ringing at Liverpool at this moment in time. It's really, really like they're really on a bad run of form. I'm not saying that Jurgen Klopp should be sacked, because I think he's done a tremendous job at Liverpool. He's won them their only league title in the last 32 years, and that's not a dig, it's a fact. He's won them a Champions League title. He won them a Champions League title in 2019, their first one since 2005. So I think Liverpool I think they would be stupid to sack this guy, to sack Jurgen Klopp, because first of all, who are they going to get as their manager if they sack Jurgen Klopp? And I think the foundation that Jurgen Klopp has built at Liverpool, I think he deserves a little bit of grace and a little bit of more time than just 6 games into the season and one bad performance in the Champions League for everyone to kind of say, oh, well, he must go, we don't want him anymore. I think that would really be a stupid thing to do, and I don't think the Liverpool board would do that. I don't think they would just sack him simply because he's had a poor start to the season. But obviously, I think the alarm bell's ringing. I think they're really playing bad at the moment. And then, excuse me. Oledi! Yeah, boys with headphones, damn nice. I apologize there, man. My niece was crying, so they couldn't hear at the kitchen. Excuse me there. like some of you might probably say I'm lying, this is not my niece, it's probably my daughter or something, because she's always kind of disturbing my videos. But I apologize for that, man. My sister is not currently not here, so I'm kind of like looking after her, and my mom, like me and my mom are kind of looking after her, and some of my other siblings. So apologize for that. But basically I was saying that it would be a stupid decision for Jurgen Klopp to be sacked by Liverpool, because I just think the foundation is built at the football club, the connection he has with the community of Liverpool, because it just goes beyond kind of football in terms of the relationship he has with the football fans of Liverpool Football Club. So I think it would be a bad decision for them to sack him. I think what they should do is that they should back him some more in the transfer market, because you look at that game against Napoli yesterday, James Milner is starting. Milner started playing football in 1998 and he's still playing. That was, 24 years ago? So, like, the guy's been playing for 20 plus years at the top level. You can't still be expecting him to be performing at a high level week in, week out, because he played in the Premier League at the weekend. You can't then expect him to kind of replicate a high level of performance in the Champions League midweek. And actually, James Milner was there when Leeds United were first relegated to the Championship, and that was in the season 2003-2004. That's before I was born, actually. In fact, I was born by the time the season ended, because the season ended in late May, but I was born on the 6th of May in 2004, and James Milner was playing at that time. So I think realistically, he should not be playing. Well, not that he should not be playing for Liverpool, because I think he's a great professional, he's a consummate professional who really takes care of his body. And some of the lads at Liverpool actually say Milner is the fittest player at the football club. So I think he should he should still play for Liverpool Football Club, because he is still a top professional. However, he should not be playing week in, like game in, game out, where he's playing on the Saturday, he's playing on the Tuesday, he's playing on the Sunday, he's playing on the Wednesday. I think that's unfair to him, and it's also unfair to Jurgen Klopp that he is forced to be playing James Milner. Basically because his other midfielders are injury prone. Keita is still injured. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is still injured. And those guys, for the past 4 years, have been injury prone at Liverpool. And still, they haven't replaced them with other top level midfield players. So I just think they should just, instead, I think there shouldn't be any questions being asked with regards to Jurgen Klopp and his job at Liverpool. However, I think he should be just back more in the transfer market, because I think if you just give him some more players, then he would do a lot better in terms of the results of the football club. So I think that's really where I'm at with regards to the Liverpool result. They weren't good enough. As I've already said, as I've already highlighted, Van Dijk, a lot of players are backing themselves against him. They're really taking him on. They fancy themselves against him. Trent, his defensive awareness is not that great. And to be fair to him, there's not a lot of right backs you're going to get who have a very high defensive IQ. Because modern day fullbacks today are not like fullbacks from 20 years ago, where fullbacks from 20 years ago were expected to attack, but they were also expected to defend. Like, it wouldn't be acceptable for you as a fullback to be good going forward, but to be awful when you have to defend. And typical example is Roberto Carlos used to play for Real Madrid. He was really good athlete. He used to get up and down the left flank. Was a great defender. Was a great attacker. That's how fullbacks, so like left backs and right backs, that's what was expected of them 20 years ago. Right now, it's not the same. Like some right backs like Cancelo at Manchester City, I expected Walker and Zinchenko at Arsenal. They're expected to join the midfield when their team have the ball. So if you're gonna ask someone to be joining the midfield, then that's that requires a very high football IQ, and it will require a lot of energy for them to be going up and down the right flank or the left flank, and then also joining in midfield and basically creating overloads in the midfield. So I think fullbacks today are vastly different to fullbacks of 20 years ago. So like I don't want to just criticize Trent Alexander-Arnold and say he's just a bad defender and he's awful and all of that stuff. He was awful yesterday, but I mean Joe Gomez was worse really. But I think I will give Trent kind of the benefit of the doubt that he is a right back and he's still learning his trade. I know he's playing at the top level, but let's not forget that Trent is a player that has already won the Champions League, the Premier League, the FA Cup, the League Cup. So he's more than a good player, and he's more than capable of playing for the Liverpool team. Just that defensively at this moment in time, the Liverpool team, just as a unit, are not good enough. They're just conceding goals left, right and centre. And as an attacking unit, they're not good enough as well. And therefore, they're struggling a lot to get results simply because they're conceding goals, but then they are struggling to be efficient at the top end of the pitch, which that's something that they usually really do, they usually really do well. That was just a lot there, kind of going on. But basically, I think that's where I stand with regards to Liverpool. I don't think there should be any questions being asked with regards to Jurgen Klopp and his job, but I do think that they should just back him more in the transfer market. Apologize, guys, for the light. I just the reason why I didn't switch it on was because I didn't want to kind of like go away from the video and stuff like that. So apologize there for any inconvenience it might have caused. But obviously, moving on to the other game, which was a pretty boring game to be honest, which was the game between Tottenham Hotspur and Marseille. Actually, for the first 45 minutes, Marseille dominated proceedings against Tottenham. And like they dominated the ball. I think at halftime the possession was 51-49. I mean, that's pretty even. So I guess I shouldn't say they dominated the ball, but for the majority of that first half, Marseille were the ones who were creating the half chances, but they were not creating any clear-cut chances. They simply just didn't have enough quality to create those clear-cut chances to punish Tottenham. But Tottenham were passive. They were lethargic. They weren't moving the ball quick enough, and they really they struggled to kind of cope with Olympique Marseille in that first half. And then in the second half, they were really helped by the fact that the player for Marseille got a red card. He got himself a straight red card because he took out Son, as basically Son went past him, and as he was chasing Son back, so because there was no other person, so there was no last man apart from the goalkeeper, he then took out Son and he tripped him. So that was basically regarded as a denial of a legitimate goal scoring opportunity. And when a foul is described as that, it's deemed to be a straight red card. So that's how he got basically a straight red card. And then after they got a straight red card, the floodgates really opened for Tottenham. They started knocking the ball better. They started attacking with a lot more intent, and that's how they basically scored their goals. So they were really massively helped by the fact that Marseille got a red card, and as a result had to play out the rest of the game with 10 men. So I think that was really the thingy. That was really what I took out from the game. I don't think Tottenham were that good. I think they were pretty awful. Actually, they were really slow on the ball. Harry Kane had a few chances that he didn't take. Was striking the ball wide. Son didn't really play well in that first half. So I think so what I'm saying, that I don't think Tottenham were good in that first half or in that first 50 minutes or first 60 minutes. I don't quite remember when Marseille got the red card, but as soon as Marseille got the red card, Tottenham kind of grew confidence in the game, and they started knocking the ball with a lot more confidence, started attacking Marseille. So I think Tottenham weren't that good, but what matters is that they got the result. They didn't play well. Again, just checking my battery there, guys, 13%, I'm almost done. But basically, I think obviously the most important thing is the fact that Tottenham got a result, and their fans are going to be happy because they got the result. And that's pretty much how they've been performing so far this season, whereby they haven't played really well in any of their games, but they're just simply getting results. It's going to be interesting to see how they play against Manchester City on Saturday. I actually think the Manchester City game suits them more than when they play weaker teams, because they can have that style of theirs that they want to have in terms of sitting back and then just trying to hit the opposition team on the break, because Manchester City play a high line, and therefore they're going to try and really exploit that with pacing behind. So that's going to be an interesting game to watch. I'm really looking forward to it. So I think, yeah, man, the Spurs game, I don't think there's anything more I can talk about there. Richarlison obviously scored. Good, two great headers from him. Good crosses from Perisic and Højbjerg. But apart from really that, I don't think there's anything more I can mention about the Marseille game versus Tottenham. It was a pretty dull game. Tottenham were pretty lethargic and slow until Marseille got a red card, and then that's when the floodgates really opened and Spurs started to really attack with a lot more intent. But obviously good result for them, because they ended up winning the game and they start off their Champions League campaign really well. So yeah, guys, I think that brings us to the end of the video. I've obviously talked about, I've spoken about Graham Potter, as well as the Liverpool result and the Spurs result. If you have any comment or any comments about the points that I was really looking at, this in this video, you can comment in the comment section down below. And then also, please guys, if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel. That would really massively help. And then please push that notification bell so that you can get notified each time I post a new video. And please push the thumbs up button to like the videos if you like the content. I really appreciate the support, guys, and thank you for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one, and have a lovely evening.